Hello beautiful souls. Today's the day we're going to do the tutorial to make this cute cookie gift box. Okay, this actually was the trial and error for me. We're actually going to do it differently than how I put this together. This width here is a bit too wide, so we are going to decrease the size of this width, because to be honest, it's a little off. This width is great if you have a bigger circle to make the box, okay? And then we're actually going to change this too. And the way I assembled this was a lot more difficult. The way we're going to assemble it, it's actually much easier and quicker. All right, so, and then I don't like the way this looks. This looks weird to me. The proportion is off for me. So we're going to, and then also this here is a little bit too low. It needs to be a little bit higher. So again, we'll be using this die set from Kokorosa, and we're going to be using only the largest die. This is the only die we're going to be using. Using this die, you're going to cut two. I'm going to make the chocolate chip cookie, so I'm using this craft cardstock color, and then you're going to need two more, and this is to make this one sturdy. So we're going to be gluing one to the other, the lighter one to the darker one. Okay, and of course you can make this cookie if you want, the lighter cookie with the frosting. You're also going to need to cut two circles. I used a die that was actually the size I needed. You don't have to use a die if you don't have the circle die. You can use something round and chase around it, just as long as it's smaller than this die cut and it's under the jagged edge. You want it to be under the jagged edge, otherwise it will be seen through the jagged edge. If you choose one bigger like that, see, it will be seen. And for me, it's more attractive if it's not seen. Okay, that is an option to choose a smaller one, or you can choose one a little bit bigger, but either way, they do have to be smaller. You're also going to need a long strip that measures 2.5 inches wide and 6.5 inches long, and you will score it on the long sides at 1/2 inch each, and that's going to create your side. And this is optional but highly recommended. And I do want to layer this to make it more sturdy, so I did go ahead and cut another strip that is just under this size here. So it's about 1/16 of an inch. You can make it as slim as you want, or I wanted to leave a nice border, or you can make it the size of this if you want. Okay, you are going to draw in your own chocolate chips, and I am using Prismacolor pencils. This one is the dark brown, P as in Peter, C946 is the number of this one. This came from this set here that I've had like forever. It's my favorite. Prismacolor are my favorite coloring pencils to use. They are wax color pencils. They color on so smooth. And to save time, I already did one. And we are going to use Distress ink to give it the baked look. I will be using Vintage Photo first. Now I'm going to come in again with tea dye. And there you have your cookie, your baked cookie. Okay, now that we have our cookies all filled with chocolate chips, we're going to shape the cookie, because you know cookies are not smooth. They have some sort of texture, and besides which we want to dome it, you know, to make it look a little bit more realistic, just like I did in the tutorial when I made the mini cookies. I used a ball tool to form it, to shape it. And it also gave it a nice texture. Oops. So this is just a foam that I had handy in my stash. I don't know where it came from. I think it might have come from some kind of packaging or something. And that's what I'm using to shape. And I've already done this one. So now it has some texture and some shape. Now we're going to prepare the sides. We're going to make these cuts, because this is what's going to help us turn the turn this, you know, like curve it for the shape of the circle. So we have to glue this onto here, and in order for us to do that, we have to make these cuts. Otherwise it's not going to work. It's going to be really complicated. So we simply, you might have seen this before and you may not have. So for those who haven't, we just simply gonna make these triangle cuts by pivoting our scissors to the side, or angling our scissors from side to side, and that's pretty much it. And also, I should have mentioned this before I started cutting. You're gonna cut away from that score line. You're not going to cut into that score line, because then those cuts will be seen. So you're just going to cut just before that score line. Okay? And I went ahead and glued on that layer, which also makes it more stable. and I distressed it on the edges like I did the cookie. Okay, and we're just gonna form this to give it shape. I'm going to use double-sided tape. So I have the dry adhesive on both sides. You can use any adhesive that you prefer. For me, this is quicker and easier, especially when it has curves like this. So, yeah. So we want to use the rough side. Actually, this way. Yeah. So you're just gonna pretty much start tacking it down, and I only peeled off a little bit so that nothing else sticks to the round cardstock. So I'm sticking it on, and I'm sticking it on away from that score line, and I'm just gonna roll it. And it's gonna feel a little bit bulky here because the tape is still on here, but it's still going to work beautifully. So I'm pushing it with the fingers that I have on this side. I'm pushing it so they can stick on. It's really fairly easy and simple. This is the easiest way and the quickest way to do this. It's a bit more challenging if you try to glue this on to this part. It's going to be more challenging. And of course that's subjective, because it might be challenging for me and may not be challenging for you. So, but it was for me. That's how I did it with the first box, and I found this way to be easier. Okay, now I'm going to burnish it, make sure it's adhered really, really well. And you're pretty much going to repeat that for this one. It's the same process. Okay, you're going to do the same thing. And it doesn't matter where you start on the circle, because it's just going to fall into place anyway. Okay? Again, it is an option to put the double-sided tape here. I just put it here instead of putting wet glue, because I don't want to have to keep rubbing and rubbing and rubbing when we glue this piece on for it to adhere. I rather have an instant bond, so that's why I added the double-sided tape beforehand, because then you would have to try to curve the double-sided tape once it's already on this side of the cardstock. Okay, I'm going to now glue. Well, first things first. I jumped ahead of myself. We have to add these handles. You don't have to add handles. I do like adding the handles. I'm gonna glue these handles on here. You can make your handles out of the paper as well if you want. I do like the fabric handles, or ribbon, or lace. I think these might have been a little bit too long. Leave it like that. Okay, and then you want to do it on the other side. So I'm just going to peel a little bit away from, peel the backing off of the double-sided tape, a little bit away. And I'm just going to go ahead and add the wet adhesive. I'm also going to add hot glue to glue down the side where the ribbon is. And on the other side. You see what I mean? This is an instant bond here, and I don't have to wait for any wet adhesive to dry. It's an instant bond. Now, if you're brave enough to hot glue it, by all means. And you see how nice and clean that looks? And this was like the easiest and quickest way to actually create this. I added the double-sided foam tape, and I used the one from Dollar Tree, and it's already cut for you. And I doubled it up, so there's 2 in each set here. Okay, and I already went ahead and adhered this one. And the way we want to do this is we don't want to align it perfectly there. We want to offset it so that it creates a shadow. Okay, now I'm going to squeeze so that it can adhere. And we're done. All you got to do now is embellishment. This thing is so stinking cute. And look at the dimension on the sides. It looks like a cookie. This is a giant, yummy chocolate chip cookie. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Yum. Okay, so I was right. This size, this width, makes it look a lot more proportion to the size of this circle. And it looks much nicer this way, the way we assembled it, as opposed to this. This looks a little weird to me, and it's too wide. And the funny thing is that there's an illusion here. This cookie looks bigger than this one, and it's only because of the sides. But this one is aesthetically more pleasing. But if you view it this way, it's pretty much the same size. Okay, so now you embellish it the way you want. This is how I ended up embellishing the cookie box, the chocolate chip cookie box. I don't want to add anything here because I want it to, you know, I want the cookie to show. Okay, and I really do love that I changed that. It looks so much better than it was before. And that's the back. This is the Scrap Diva 29 stamp and die set. It comes with 2 aprons. This is the layering piece. I ended up cutting off the tails. And this is the stamp set. So I did stamp it with one of the sentiments. And then I shabbied it up a little bit. And it gotta be shabby, right? And I added one of the cookies here. I think that's so cute. So cute. It's simple but cute. I did go ahead and make another one. So I still use the Kokorosa dies, but I incorporated with dies I've had in my stash that I need to be using. And it's a much bigger circle. This one has a beautiful decorative edge. And this is the sugar cookie. As you can see all that sparkle to mimic the sugar. And I also sugared it up in the back. I shouldn't have done that because that's a lot of diamond dust glitter, and you know, if somebody puts this in their shelf, nobody's gonna see the back. So that was a little bit of a waste, but it's okay. And I made it more shabby. I do love the way that it looks. So this is the 2-inch gusset that I added to this, and it's actually more pleasing to the eye because this is a much bigger circle. Okay, and that's of course my opinion. It is subjective. Everybody's gonna feel different about it, and this is how I feel, but I'm telling you, for me, it looks so much better. So I did go ahead and do this one, and I did the chocolate cookie stripe, the frosting, with the strawberry cookie. I mean, the possibilities are really endless here. There's no right or wrong here. And then I also made this one, which is even bigger. Okay, so it's this one is bigger than this one, and it still has the 2-inch gusset. There's a lot of room in here. This is great to send happy mail, especially since shipping is high and we everything is going up. The food is going up. Our expenses are going up. Rent, if you rent like I do, it's like everything has gone up. Even the price of our food, our necessities have gone up drastically. So this is nice so that you don't spend a lot of money, and you can hold a lot in there, especially if you make embellishments that's not very dimensional. You can put a lot of embellishments in here without too much of the dimension, or you can just add the embellishments and have the recipient, add their own dimensional embellishments on it extra. And here I did a cluster of the cookies. I made a charm out of it, and this stamp and die set is in my stash. This one says "Bake the World a Better Place." I love that. And I just kept it simple. I added the chocolate chip cookies to here and in the back, and put this ironically the card that I made actually fits in there, so you can send this off, you know, write your note with your embellishments, and because this paper is very lightweight, so it's not going to cost that much, right? Yeah, so there. And another thing is you can make tags out of the cookies, so you can write a sentiment, you separate, and then stick it on here, you know, like a to and from with your name, the person's name, and stick it on here. And then you can add, you know, like a ribbon, you add glue in here, and you add your little ribbon here, and then you make a tag out of it, and you can put that on your happy mail or your gift or whatever it is that you're giving. So that's it. I think this is it for the die set for Kokorosa. I think I'm tapped out already with this die. I mean, you could still do more with it, I'm pretty sure. And one more thing, this will make great flat rosettes as well. I just didn't make them, but you can make flat rosettes with this and just layer them up. I think that would be really pretty, and it won't be as dimensional as rosettes, and easy to ship too if you want to send flat mail. So thank you for joining me today. Let's share, be fair, be filled with love, and love one another. Take good care, everybody.